welcome everyone to the People's House.
Mr. Speaker, will you please call the House to order?
The bill is passed.
We want to make sure that we make New York a more affordable place to live, a better place to raise a family. Welcome to Assembly Update. I'm Assembly Member Angelo Santa Barbara, representing the 111th Assembly District, which includes Montgomery County, parts of Schenectady County, and parts of Albany County. In the parts of Schenectady County is the town of Rotterdam, and today we're going to be talking with a young athlete from my alma mater, Shalmont High School, who has an incredible story to tell, and he's here with his family, and his mother is going to be on the air with us. Dante Gallucci and Teri Gallucci, welcome to the show.
Thank
you for having us.
And I've been following your story on Facebook very closely. Tell us what has happened and how it came to be that we ended up playing on a team called Dante's team not too long ago at Union College. And I'm going to hold up the jersey in a little while. But tell us a little bit about your story and tell us about yourself.
Well, I was big in sports in high school, and I played in my football team, my basketball team, my track team. Was going to be in the #1 defense in the state for our football team. So one day my neck started to swell up, and so me and my friends were sitting in class, wondering like why it would be so swollen. And so I didn't really think much of it. And then my mom was going to volunteer at an LLS event for kids with cancer, like Men and Women of the Year. So I listened to the Girl of the Year talk then and just thought about like how crazy everything was like that she had to go through. So I remember a month or so later, I got my own diagnosis that I got T-cell lymphoblastic lymphoma, and it was just like it's ironic, yeah.
Hard to believe.
So I've been going through treatment for 10 months, and Make-A-Wish came to me and asked me like what I wanted to do for my Make-A-Wish. So I told them I wanted to go to Italy to visit my foreign exchange student. And so I thought that it was just great that they would give me that, even though it was a more expensive wish, a bigger wish than most. So I wanted to give it back. And so me and my mom came up with the idea of having a basketball game against the Harlem Wizards. So Team Dante versus the Harlem Wizards. And
there we were in Union College, and it was an incredible turnout, I have to say. The community has been very supportive. Teri, what have you heard from the community once this happened and you reached out?
It's amazing, and I pray for all of the children who go through this, that their communities are as supportive, and their school district. We've been so fortunate because Dante has been so involved with different athletic associations, and we've done a lot in our community. For Make-A-Wish, Ronald McDonald House, all the different hospitals. We've dealt a lot with our foreign exchange student program, and just have been ingrained in the community and the surrounding areas. So, when Dante got his diagnosis, I think the good things that you do in your life come back to you, and we've been so fortunate because everybody has stepped up. From church to it doesn't matter. Every entity of life really came and supported everything that he's going through and is deciding to do. And we're really appreciative of that. And it's not just our community, but what's happened. We were talking the other night about the wonderful thing that's happened in our lives, and that's once you're introduced to something this horrible, this disease, there is a whole community on top of our community that comes out to support. There are, so many foundations, and then every single charitable organization steps up, like Double H Ranch and Make-A-Wish and LLS, which is Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, the Albany Med Group, the Melodies of Christmas, and so many entities, the foundations. So he was approached by an organization called Nick's Fight, and they really help teens because sometimes they're forgotten in all this. And so he's part of that support group, and they're doing tremendous things. So they've kind of grabbed him up too, and we're so appreciative of that. So, the wonderful thing about Dante is he has the ability to speak for the children who can't right now, because many of the kids at Melodies and that are being treated are so young. So they really, they're not in that position quite yet to speak out. So it's important.
All those organizations that you mentioned, they're all familiar names. They're all doing great things for our community, and I'm glad to see that they were involved and are showing support. And you have been a voice, and your story has been told many times that I've seen in the newspapers, on television. I've heard online. I've seen you have a Facebook page that people are following, and we'll flash that up on the screen if people want to follow you on there or like the page on there. They can get updates. What was it like? And I went to Chaumont, and I know it's a community-based school. Everybody's very close. How did your friends react? What did you hear from them? I know they've kept in touch with you. What are some of the reactions that you got from your friends?
Well, I think they were shocked, but I think mostly, like, my football team helped me a lot because it was the start of football season and I obviously wanted to play, so they helped by painting my number on the fields and letting off green lanterns because that's the color of my cancer. So they gave me although I wasn't on the football field, I had a different role on the football team, so I think that helped me.
And obviously that sport was a passion, and you really enjoyed doing it, and we're going to see you get back to that at some point. And how about your teachers and the support behind the school itself, the coaches?
My teachers have been fantastic. Like, I can't make it into school a lot, so I have 3 tutors, and they're fantastic. And when I can make it into school, my teachers make like special arrangements for me, keep me towards the door, so just in case I have to leave or don't feel good, I can get out. So they've helped. And
at home, I know I've been following some of the things going on. Teri, how obviously this has changed home life. How have you adapted? How are things operating differently now?
Well, I think, my husband and I are very fortunate because Dante started out this journey as a really positive, young man, and so he's never looked at anything, with a negative tone. So we started out the journey that way because I really think that makes a difference in your life. So, we kind of closed the door to anybody who's negative. And I think, our friends come over, and everything that we're doing, we try to just, incorporate giving back. Because I really do think, in talking to all the other parents, that is pretty much, once you share your story and you talk about it and you're open about it, not only is it educating others, but it's a lot easier for Dante and the whole rest of the family to get through this because you're sharing it. And you would be amazed at every single time you share this story, it brings awareness, and you meet more people who say, oh, did you know that there's another program? Or, it's just sharing knowledge. And if you're not open about what's going on and you're not a voice, you're not going to get that response. And every single day, someone new comes into our life. We were just talking about, it's a real blessing because they bring something to us, whether it's, we had a woman the other day who approached us at the Melody Center and said to Dante, there's this company that paints sneakers, however you like, and I'd love to do that for you. And he said, do you think they come in a size 15? Because this one is huge. But they're very giving people, and word spreads with everything that we do, which I'm really proud of Dante because people are noticing, and through that, it's not necessarily for our family, but through that, other children may benefit.
And I think being at the charity basketball game, I think it was really emotional at the end. I have to say, but you saw, we saw the pictures of the people out onto the floor, showing their support. It really did bring the community together.
Yeah.
So you're right, a lot of positives have come out of this, and I do have the jersey. I did bring it, although it was a Team Dante. Hopefully we can get a shot of this on the air, and maybe we'll have you sign this before you go. But let's talk a little bit about the game. You ran you kind of coached the game all the way through. What kind of experience was that? Was it kind of something new to you, or I know you play football, but you're involved in sports. How did you feel throughout the game, hearing all the support, people chanting Team Dante?
Well, yeah, just from like a coaching aspect, I've coached like little kids basketball teams before, so it wasn't that different for me. But what was different is like having one of my football coaches help coach with me, along with my Dr. Pierce, and having all like my supporters and teachers I've had, my nurses that have helped me, babysitters, everyone, people playing on my team and being cheerleaders for that. So I think it was great.
And I think we have a shot of the cheerleaders. One of them was my biology teacher from when I went to Chalmont. Yeah, Mrs. Freeman. She, She's amazing. We had a group of cheerleaders, and certainly were cheering. One of the in the little brochure, I pulled a quote from there, and it was a quote from you that said, "I want to inspire people. I want someone to look back and say, because of you, I didn't give up." Yeah. Tell us how you came up with that, and tell us what that means.
Well, obviously, I want people to be inspired by me, and I want people to, because it's not easy for some people to stay positive, but it's easy for me to stay positive. So I want people to look at what I'm going through and see that I'm staying positive, and have that help them stay positive through what they're going through.
And certainly, going back to what you said, Teri, sharing the story, and sometimes that's not easy to do.
No,
and sharing,
it's not, because you're opening your life up at probably the most vulnerable time that you will ever experience. You know, what these children go through is just absolutely ugly. You know, there's no way to paint a positive picture around that. You know, when they're admitted to the hospital and through treatments, there are some horrible, symptoms that occur. There are some hospital stays that are very difficult to get through. And, you can't sugarcoat that, but you can look at it in the best possible light. And when the door opens, when we're in the hospital, and it's teachers and students and neighbors, he has gotten so much love to surround him during those times. And I give him a lot of credit, because it's not easy to have your classmates come to the hospital and see you with no hair, or see, he's had some internal bleeding, and he's had some really difficult symptoms. And to open your life to that and let people see you during that time, it's very difficult, and not everyone can do that. Most people that we meet in the hospital don't want anyone to visit them. But I think what we've discovered through this journey is that people need to see that. They need to know that, that 4% of the funding for cancer goes to childhood cancer. That's so low. That means that, there has to be a voice, and children can't speak. It's almost like, talking about the elderly. They are in a situation at some point where they can't speak. And so we're very lucky that, and so many parents have spoken up and given Dante accolades, and the other children who are teens who have spoken up about this. But there needs to be changes. And, we're getting educated, because obviously we've only been traveling this journey for a year. And so, we definitely take every opportunity to educate ourselves on this as we're going along.
And certainly awareness goes a long way with a lot of these childhood diseases and disorders. And sharing your story is helping raise awareness. And I know it's difficult to do, but I appreciate you doing that and giving that to the community. And opening up your story and sharing it.
I think parents and the community sometimes, maybe look at children, and I know every single parent on the football team said, I would have never guessed Dante, because he was the biggest, the strongest. It's hard to believe that Dante has cancer. But you know what? Cancer doesn't discriminate. And this is a really good thing to point out, is that he is the biggest, he was the strongest, but it still attacked him. And so there's there's a lot behind that, and a really good message out there that it really doesn't matter if you're rich or poor or white or black or Hispanic. You know, cancer occurs, you know, young, old, and we really need to speak out.
Yes, and certainly more needs to be done, and those percentages, like you said, are very low. And it's great that you're sharing your message. We're going to take a short break. You can find Dante on Facebook. If you're watching, get on Facebook and do that during the break. Stay with us more with Dante and Teri Gallucci when we come back from Assembly Update.
All right, give me a spot. You know my motto, safety first.
They could be dangerous. I think we should call animal control.
Animal control?
To be safe.
Don't worry.
Just...
I got this. It's a new motto.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you. Body language can tell you all sorts of things. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call 911 and get them to a hospital immediately. Learn the body language and spot a stroke fast.
Look at me. Hey.
Raymond, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.